Hi, this is Don at Tegra Music, and thank you for renting one of our PA systems. This is PA Package A, and I'm going to show you how to hook this up. This is probably one of the most popular PA systems on the planet because it consists of a power mixer and a pair of speakers. Of course, the speakers can go on stands, and we've got part of the package too. We're not going to put them on there right now because we want to see them on the table here. But to start with, first thing you want to do is plug this into power. I've already done so. And I'll get some close-ups of this, but the power cord plugs in here. Right now I've just got it into an extension cord. The other thing that you get with the package are the speaker cables that go to each speaker. And of course I will get some close-ups and show you how this works. This is a Speak-On connector. This connector is what everybody's using now and going to, and the way it works is you push it in and turn a little bit to the right to lock it in place. There's two connectors on the back of this, one for each speaker. Turned it in, maybe you heard that snap. And then on the back of the speaker it has the same thing. There's two of them on the back of the speaker, and they're both the same thing, so it really doesn't matter which one you choose. It'll lock in there. Let me go ahead and get this one. And we'll lock that in place here. You heard that snap in. Same thing over here. And a little twist to the right, and that locks in. The next thing you can do is we want to make sure that this red knob down here in the corner is turned all the way down. That's the master volume. You could turn both of these red knobs down just so we don't have any mics hooked up and cause feedback. Once you've done that, now it's safe to power the unit on. The power button is right down here in the corner. And that is how the system gets hooked up. Next I'll zoom in and we'll get some close-up of hooking a microphone in so you know how to do that. Of course this has 4 8 channels, and the last 4 can have stereo connectors hooked in. So if you have a CD player or a keyboard that's stereo, you could use those channels and not use 2 individual channels for that. So let's zoom in and get some close-ups. Okay, so now we're zoomed in here and we can see how the front controls work here. First thing to note is up here on the right upper corner there's a little switch. And in most cases, if this is the basic system, you want that switch in the upper position. If it ends up being turned down, speakers won't work properly. Only one will work, the other one you'll think something's wrong. So make sure that's in the up position to start with. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hook a microphone in, just to show you how that works and the adjustments for at least one channel, and then you'll know how to do that for the rest of the channels. I always make sure that all these white knobs, as your volume controls for channels, are turned down before I hook anything in. Go ahead and hook the mic cord up there. And then this is the standard 3-pin mic connector. I'll plug that into channel 1 right there. Okay, so we're looking at this column right here. First thing I do is I'll double check, make sure that these green knobs are all at 12 o'clock straight up. When they're in that position, they're not doing anything. So that's where we want to start. Of course, there's a monitor knob and effect knob. We won't worry about those right now. But the next thing you can do, I usually just start tapping the microphone. Oops, I forgot to turn our master up. So where do we start with this? You could start at about halfway up, maybe about 12 o'clock, and go from there. And now I'm bringing up the individual channel on the microphone. Test, 1, 2, 3, test. Okay, we can see that we've got signal up here. EQ, if you're not familiar with what that does, the high adds some highs, test, 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 or take some away. You can adjust for taste, mid-range, check, check, check. That's kind of a harsh one, so sometimes you can dial that back a little bit. Of course, the low does the bass frequencies, so you can add or cut those away and make it sound however you want. There is a compressor on the first 4 channels. If you're not familiar with the compressor, just leave those all the way off. There's a button right below each channel that allows you to choose what connector you're using. You've either got a mic connector or a line connector, which is the 1/4-inch connector for like a keyboard. If you're using that and the keyboard's being plugged in, you want to push that button in, and that allows that connector to be used instead of the mic. First 4 channels have those. The next 4 channels, you have the mic connectors, and you also have 2 1/4-inch connectors. Those are for if you have a stereo keyboard, you can plug that in it will sum those into. This is not a stereo system, but it would allow both the left and the right signal from the keyboard to go to both speakers. The last two channels, instead of quarter-inch connectors, they have RCA connectors. So if you have an iPod or a CD player or some media device, you could plug those into there. That just gives you those types of connectors. One of the other things I'll talk about is the main EQ. So over here, what we're using is the main signal right now. That's more EQing if you want to add some more low frequencies from lows to highs. You can play with those. Just make sure it's not turned up too loud because if you turn it up when it's really loud, that could cause some feedback. Talk a little bit about the effects. There is a on and off button for the effects. That's what this column is here. So if I want effects on this channel, first thing I would do is I would turn up this knob right here on each channel that you want effects. Normally they'd be in the down position, which I will reset that. So now you can hear that I've got some reverb, and this right here is the actual volume of the reverb into the main speakers. It says effect return. So you can change the sound of the reverb. There's one parameter. This one makes the reverb last longer or shorter. Of course, this knob right here allows you to choose from 1 through 16 and the different effects that are on this particular unit. For vocals, usually a nice reverb, the number 1 or number 2 hall are probably my preference. And of course, when you're all done, I'll turn that off. One other button over here, if you're taking a break and you want to play some music, what this does is channels 1 through 8, it'll actually mute the output. So if you have something in one of the last channels, a music player, you can still play some music, and you're basically turning off the first channels for making sure that nothing feeds back when you're not near the system. And that's, turn that back on. But for this particular system with these two speakers, these are great sounding speakers. Really popular, powerful mixer. This has two 500 watt amps, it's 1,000 watts. And next we will show you how to tear everything apart. First thing, turn the power off. Okay, now that we've powered the head off, we can start unhooking things. Of course, unhook all your mics and wrap those up nice. And on the back, of course, you can unhook the power cord from power. And these speak-on connectors usually have a tab or something you pull back and turn to the left. And I'll try to get a close-up of one of those hooking in and out on the back of the speakers here. And you can unhook those. Of course, wrap up all your cables nice and neat, pack everything up, and you are good to go. Okay, so what we've got here is this is a speak-on connector, a little close-up of that. And the way this works is there's a fat tab here. Here's the little latch that you pull back to lock it in place. You can slide it in. It keys in and only go in one way. When you push it in there, and you turn it to the right, and this locks in place. So now it can't come loose accidentally, so that's a great feature on that. To unhook it, then you grab this tab here, pull back with your thumb, turn to the left, and it comes out.